And the mysterious reluctance, resistance, man-caused disasters, overseas contingencies, workplace violence, and now we're threading a new needle here. This was an intentional act. It was intentional. A bomb being set. Geez, talk about stating the obvious.
And then we have Josh Earnest saying it's a narrative war. I would commend to him to pay a little attention to all the bodies that come back draped with American flags. Look, I've got the answer for them. And I don't want to take a second from Ben Carson because I know he's up next. Here's the slogan for the next commander-in-chief of the United States of America. Stop the jihad. It doesn't matter the trade name, ISIS, Al-Qaeda, Al-Shabaab, Boko Haram, Abu Sayyaf. All of them are just different trade names for these franchises from hell. All of them pushing the same product, death to infidels like us. Here's how to stop the jihad being waged against us. Number one, it's not enough to condemn in the strongest terms or beg for more time or investigations. We stand shoulder to shoulder. That's baloney, and the jihadis know it. Number two, stop guessing about whether the perps are directed, inspired, radicalized, or lone wolves. They're all jihadis. Pledge to stop the jihad. Number three, Commander-in-Chief has to lead Western leaders to no jihadi safe havens where self-proclaimed leaders like al-Baghdadi and Zawahiri can create their own propaganda. Number four, they have to be killed. And when they're killed, don't hold a press conference to show pictures of POTUS and his pals wringing their hands in the sit room. Number five, forge a Sunni, Kurd, Egyptian, Jordanian, UAE, Saudi force to end the Syrian civil war and keep the peace. Number six, the next commander-in-chief has to cancel the Iran nuke deal and break the perception that the United States is joined at the hip with the Ayatollahs in Tehran. It will deny a hot-button issue to all jihadis. Number seven, keep Gitmo open, try enemy combatants in military tribunals, stop the unvetted refugees from entering the United States, and start a public diplomacy program like we did against the Soviet Union with Solidarity, Radio Liberty, Radio Freedom. And finally, just like the mayor just said a moment ago, America's mayor was right. Reactivate the surveillance programs like New York Police Department Commissioner Kelly created back when he was mayor and that de Blasio abandoned. There's the 8 ways. And by the way,
the only way those things, and I agree wholeheartedly with all 8 on your list, that's going to happen is if Donald Trump is elected, because Hillary won't do it. Let me give you another example. She not only screwed up, voting for the Iraq war, then giving a date of return, and then saying, oops, sorry, we made a mistake. Sorry about your sons and daughters dying. I'm sorry about you being disfigured and losing your legs and your arms. We have to learn from that. But she's made a lot of mistakes. Then we've got Iraq, Afghanistan, and we've got Syria. Then you've got, of course, the Russian reset. She hasn't done anything with North Korea. Add to that, though, Donald Trump met tonight with President al-Sisi of Egypt. And Hillary, though, and Obama, they supported the former Muslim Brotherhood head by a guy by the name of Morsi and gave him F-16s, tanks, and $1.5 billion taxpayer dollars, a guy that once referred to the Israelis and Jews as descendants of apes and pigs. Is there any place, foreign policy-wise, that you can point to where she has a success story to tell?
Yes, she traveled to more places than any previous
That's not a success story.
That's part of her legacy. Look Sean, we cannot undo the damage that these people have done in the last 8 years. What we can do is rectify it. And the ways you rectify that is having a foreign policy that's America first. I'm not trying to quote a campaign, and that supports the ideals of the American people. We don't have that today. One of the big reasons why the disconnect that's occurred is because the folks who've been running our government for the last 8 years are in nirvana. Look at the way they talk. They don't want to make a conclusion about a bomb going off, for crying out loud. I mean, everything that they have done has been done wrong. We can't undo what they did, but we can fix it.
Well, I agree, Colonel. You had it right, I had it right, and they had it wrong. And the Iranian deal is at the heart of the worst decision they've made. Libya second, Iraq and Syria a close first, second, and third, and Egypt another mistake. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Bless you, brother. Appreciate you.
All right, joining me now, former 2016 presidential candidate, Dr. Ben Carson. Dr. Carson, what is your reaction to this mysterious reluctance and resistance to say the words radical Islam? Why is that so hard?
I believe it's the loss of common sense. People are so caught up in their political correctness that they lose control of rational thinking. And unfortunately, this is exactly what the radical Islamists want. The memorandum of understanding that was uncovered during the Holy Land Foundation trial, they found this memorandum, and it talked about civilization jihad, how they would be able to take over here, and they would use our political correctness against us. It really is quite silly, and it seems like all we have to do is look at Europe, look at France, look at Germany. Can we learn from their mistakes, or do we have to make the same mistakes over again? It really is just maddening how we've completely lost our senses. And this whole thing about profiling, forget about the label. People are so concerned about the label. If you know there's a mass murderer who's 7 feet tall and has green eyes, and you're in a room full of people, which ones are you going to look for? You're going to look for the tall ones with green eyes. Doesn't mean that every tall one with green eyes is the one, but certainly that's the group that you need to be concentrating on. That's common sense.
Dr. Carson, we're 50 days away from Election Day, tonight, 50 days. So I view this as one of the biggest choice elections. Number one, Supreme Court. It'll impact this country for generations. Extreme vetting or no vetting. A wall, as Trump wants, or a bridge in what Hillary wants. Saying radical Islam, not being able to say it. Obamacare, eliminate it, repeal it, replace it, or keep it. On so many big issues, education, energy independence.
Absolutely.
These are deep and profound differences between these two candidates. What do you say to those Republicans that have been sabotaging and undermining Donald Trump, and I would argue helping Hillary Clinton in the process?
I would say to them, this is not going to be a 4 or an 8-year issue. You think that we can just blow through this and Hillary will be okay because she's a known quantity. Wrong. The problem here is that when you get the federal court system and the Supreme Court in the hands of those radicals, it will be there for a generation or two.
At least.
The United States will never be the same again.
I don't know
That's
if we
what they
recover.
need to understand.
Economic policy, raising taxes, cutting taxes, energy independence, education back to the states, or top-down Common Core from Washington, supported by the NAA.
Absolutely.
It's deep and profound.
And it's not a Republican or Democrat issue. This is an American issue. People have got to get beyond that because we're talking about our children.
Are we going to see you in Ohio, in Cleveland on Wednesday for our town hall with Mr. Trump?
I will be there.
All right, we'll see you there. Dr. Carson, thank you.
Okay.
And coming up next tonight, we'll give you details on that town hall in a few minutes, but up next on Hannity.
We need extreme screening.
After a wave of terror attacks right here on U.S. soil, Donald Trump is calling for extreme vetting of refugees and immigrants. We'll check in with Dr. Sebastian Gorka. He's next. That and more tonight, straight ahead.